Hey guys, it's Vandiazel back in with another Cardfight Vanguard deck profile. So if you guys enjoyed, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and join the Patreon. And let's get one started. Today we have Clarissa, Dragon Girls. The one that hits hard and gets 4 attacks and can wipe out a field. Basically, brawlers in modern era. Whew, this deck is... How do I put this without angering people? This deck is what I would call... Let me just describe to you what this deck feels like. You walk up to someone, right? And then you just say hi to them. But they don't say hi back, because maybe they didn't see you. What you do in response, instead of being like the normal kind person who would just go about their day and leave it alone, you go tackle them to the ground and then beat the shit out of them for not saying hi. And then when the police show up, instead of arresting you, they arrest them. Yeah, that's what this deck feels like. That's a very weird way to put it, but that's what this deck feels like to me. So let's go ahead and get this started. I'll explain every crucial detail of why I feel that way. First up, we have our starter, which is Dignified Clarissa, the least broken card in this deck, or at least annoying card in this deck to deal with, because it has 1 skill and that's it. Grade 0, boost, 5k shield, 6k base, auto wins road upon if you win second draw a card. Nothing too special about standard starter ability, except in my opinion, this is like the most designed card in the entirety of the deck, just because like you can clearly see the Dragon Tail. I like the Dragon Tack 2, or maybe that is just scales, but I like the Dragon Tack 2 on its legs and its arms. Like all around, this feels like the better designed card out of all of them, and for some reason it looks like a double rare to me. Either way, really good starter. I mean, in terms of art wise, it's in terms of skill, all of them have that ability, but you want this Clarissa because I think this is I might not be right about this, but I'm pretty sure this is the ride line where it requires the other ones. So 1 copy of Clarissa. Overtrigger, 1 copy of Demonic Fever, Garviera. If this looks familiar, it is. It comes from Felt Rosa, because there wasn't a Dragonoid Overtrigger. Overtrigger, you might have 1 Overtrigger in your deck. When you as a trigger, move that card, draw a card, choose one of your units. It gets +1 melee for the turn. If revealed during your drive check, activates additional effect, activates additional effect, which is during this fight, you get during your turn, all of your rear guards get +10. Okay, Clarissa does not need this. Clarissa gets way too much power. I mean, not way too much. Like, they hit for like 30s without a Persona Ride, more or less. They hit for almost 30s without a Persona Ride. With Persona Ride, they are barely not hitting the 40s. With this, they are in the 50s or 60s. So, you know, Clarissa, at least it hits magic numbers, because without the Persona Ride, it's at least hitting it's at least hitting for 20k drops on every attack, minus maybe the Vanguard. With Persona Rides, it is like 25 to 30k guards, and with this, it is, you know, PG time. So Garviera just makes them so much stronger. No contest. There is no reason to run Obari here. 1 copy. 3 copies of Aplomb Site Grete, 5k base, 5k shield, grade 0 boost, standard draw trigger, nothing too special about it. We want the draws because, you know, in case you can't draw because you need 5 Earnescorrect, however you say them, members, you kind of want to just draw into them quickly. While it is easy to get them because you only technically need 3, and as long as one of them is Evelyn, you're kind of set, but you want those draw triggers just to like fill up your hand quickly. 4 copies of Running Start, use Haida. Just so you know, if they weren't already feeling the pressure of power being placed upon them, now they have to feel more of it. Just you know, if they thought what you was doing before was too strong, oh, no, we can go stronger, baby. Trust me. 4 copies. 4 copies of Grinning Dragon Scale LSA. Oh, okay, so you know how the Vanguard has an on-hit ability, but you know, the rear guards are a lot effing bigger, so you're thinking that the Vanguard's just a smart attack to take, because maybe you just have a bunch of PGs and you don't want to waste them. Yeah, this, or you think you should guard the Vanguard. Well, try guarding big boys over there, or big gals over there with extra crits. Yeah. I tell you what, this is not fun fighting against. It's really not, like... It's fun fighting against because you know it's a challenge, but it's not fun fighting against when you expect to win and then everything that you call gets murdered within the next 5 seconds of appearing on the board. 4 copies of our heal trigger, which is Grete, because unfortunately we couldn't get our own heal for this deck, but it's fine, you know. I don't think they need their own heal, especially if they start being able to search Dragon Girls. So 4 copies of this, because why not? On to our grade 1s. 4 copies of Earnescorrect supporter Trilby. 5k power, 5k shield, grade 1 with boost. Auto rear when your Vanguard attack hits, it gets +5 for the turn. So if you don't know, Earnest Scouts basically, that's what I'm choosing to call them. I know that's wrong, but that's how I choose to call them. What they focus on is like the Vanguard Clarissa has an on-hit ability, and this focuses on the on-hit. One of them supports like just making sure that none of them die, or if they do die, they go to hand. One of them just calls whatever one that you don't have, and the other one can restand if the Vanguard hits. This one, even though it's the weakest one in terms of power, has the potential to get the most because the Vanguard can hit 3 attacks at once, meaning this could possibly hit +20. I mean, be +15, so it's a 20k booster. With the overtrigger applied to that, it's a 40. But just not counting the overtrigger, to hit 3 units at once, you have to play an order that gives all of your Earnescorrect units +5. So this is a 25k booster. With the addition of like a 13k swinger, that is like, I don't know, 38, literally hitting a 30k guard drop. And that's without Persona Rides, remember that. Or the overtrigger. Yeah, and for the record, you can do this on first grade 3 turn if you're going second, or if they're just rushing you. So yeah, okay, so we don't need to discuss why this thing has the potential to be a little bit too powerful. Because yeah, when the Vanguard only hits once, it's not that bad. But then when you're constantly seeing the card that allows you to hit multiple times, she becomes a problem, and suddenly this is what you have to start murdering besides the unit that can just, you know, make sure the other ones don't die. 4 copies of Earnescorrect supporter Leona, the one that makes sure none of them die, or if they do die, they go back to hand. 8k base, 5k shield, grade 1 with boost. Auto rear, when you're the rear guard with Earnescorrect and its card name is retired during your opponent's turn. If this unit's on rear, Soul Boss 1 and discard 1, put the retired unit to hand. Basically, Soul Boss 1 and replace a card from your hand with the card that was killed, meaning that you can get the unit back. And the reason why that's important is because you have to have 5 different Earnescorrect units. Carissa's one, there's exactly 4 others right now. So until they make more, this thing is really good, and even then this thing would be really good because it allows you to keep multiple of them in hand. The only downside to this is that it has to be another unit that dies, but if you just have 2 of these on the board, your opponent basically can't kill them because it's not a once per turn. As long as you have soul to keep going with it, they're basically dead. I mean, it makes sense why that's like that, because otherwise this thing would just be immortal. So, 4 copies, because this is your first kill target, and then you don't want to kill Evelyn because she's just an on-place, which means it's either the grade 2 that can restand, or this son of a thing that I can't say, that deserves to die because it gets a lot too strong, or it gets too strong. 4 copies of Leona. 4 copies of our PG and determined Cheerfulness Sakura. 6k base, 0 shield, grade 1 with boost. Continuous sentinel, you have to 4 sentinels in your deck. Auto, once placed on guard circle, choose one of your units that cannot be done to battle. If your hand has 2 or more cards, choose a card from hand, discard it. That basically means if only this and one other card in your hand at the most, when you would play this, you don't have to discard anything, which is really nice. It means you can be as aggressive as you want. Not like that matters, because once you get the 4 rear guards out and play the order, your opponent's screwed, because the likeliness of them guarding all 3 of the Vanguard attacks on the 3 different units is very doubtful, meaning you're going to draw some amount, and with the grade 2 restanding and attacking again, they're losing more hand cards, and with the big numbers you get, if they take any early damage, they essentially losing their entire hand, meaning the chance for a counterattack is very slim. Like, I'll admit it, okay, when I'm playing Clarissa, the best chance you have to defeat me is the first grade 3 turn before I play the order, and then after that it comes the, I guess, like the late game where the second I miss an order, I have lost a lot of hand cards. If you rush me then, I won't die because I build up enough hand, but if you rush me that next turn, if you're still alive, I will probably die. I'll admit to that with Clarissa, because that's Clarissa's problem, it relies too much on that order. But that doesn't matter when they get so much power to where the chance of them outliving you is very doubtful, and the only decks that can beat this are decks that can equal its power / defensive power. So Sakura, as much as that ability is good, does not matter and rarely comes into effect in this deck. 4 copies though, because it's still good. Next up we have our grade 1 of the ride line, and our last grade 1, the one that goes in the ride deck. Serious Challenger Clarissa, 8k base, 5k shield, grade 1 with boost. Auto when placed on van by riding from Dignified will Clarissa, so I was right, you do need the starter for it. Look at top 7 from the deck, choose up to 1 grade 1 or less Earnescorrect in its card name from among them. reveal it, put it to hand, shuffle the rest to the bottom. So basically, you don't shuffle the deck, you just shuffle the remaining cards. So if you saw nothing out of the top 7, you shuffle the top 7, and then you send them to bottom. If you saw 1, you get that, and then you shuffle. But it has to be a grade 1 or less. So basically, you could get this thing, which can make your Earnescouts immortal, except for herself, unless you have 2 of them, or Trilby, who can become really annoying the second you hit the order. And the other ability, which is Continuous Van, during your turn, if you have no rear guards, it gets +5. So, pretty much, it's 13. You know, that's still fine. Like, it swings for 13 on first grade 1 turn, or grade 1 turn, but the problem with it is, like, it doesn't really do much. It just makes it slightly harder for them to guard on the first turn. And I guess because, like, they know, okay, the attacks are going to get a lot bigger later, so they might as well guard it now, forcing out slightly more. I get the point behind that, but I literally I have never seen anyone block the grade 1 Vanguard attack unless they have called a rear guard that same turn. Normally, people take the first Vanguard attack regardless unless they have an extra rear guard. So for that to go off, I understand why it's there, but in terms of what I've seen, that does not matter. 1 copy, though, in the right deck because, hey, you know, it's fine. On to grade 2s. 3 copies of Loaded Sentiments, Evelyn, or Evelina, 9k base, 5k shield, grade 2 with Intercept. All other ones placed on guard circle, soul boss 1. Choose one of your units with Earnescorrect in this card name, gets +10 for the battle. So, you could pick the Vanguard, because Clarissa has that in its card name. Or you could pick any of your rear guards that are just being swung at. They get the power. Now, here's the funny thing about her. She's effectively better than all the Blitz orders, because the orders are once per turn. This isn't. So, take that as you will. I mean, yeah, the soul is a slight problem, but it's not that big of a problem. 3 copies of Evelyn over here. I mean, Evelina, because she's just really good, because she can make her power for defending slightly better. 4 copies of Earnescorrect member Katalyn, or Katalyn. Not 10k base, 5k shield, grade 2 with Intercept. Auto rear, when the attack of your Earnescout leader, Clarissa, on your Vanguard hits, counterboss 1, discard 1, stand it. So, stand this unit, by the way, not the Clarissa. So, really good because, like I said before, Clarissa can hit 3 units at once if you play the order. If you don't, it's just 1 hit. But automatically, that means they want to guard the Vanguard even more now. And if they don't, then this gets a restand out of it and Clarissa's on-hit effects go off. But also, what's fun about Clarissa is that her on-hit effects and this one, they can hit anything. They don't have to hit the Vanguard. So you can just swing into a rear guard that's useless, and either they guard it just because they don't want the effects to go off, but they still lose hand cards, or they take it and then you just get nothing but benefits. Yeah, this thing's really annoying. The funny part is, too, it's not a once per turn. So, like with Felt Rosa, if they gave us a way to restand Clarissa, you get the point. And if you have 2 of these on board, multi-attacks become problem. I don't need to go through the thing about the orders and power and stuff like that. We all understand the chaos that can be ensued with this deck. So, yeah, Katalyn, really good grade 2. 4 of Earnescorrect member Evelyn, 8k base, 5k shield, grade 2 with Intercept. Auto is placed on rear from hand. If your Vanguard is Earnescorrect leader Clarissa, counterboss 1. Search your deck for up to 1, grade 2 or less Earnescorrect in its card name, reveal it, add it to, and if you have no rear guards with the same card name as that card, call it to an open rear guard circle and shuffle your deck. So, the funny thing is, you don't actually get to add the card to hand. You have to call it. So it's either you call it, or you shuffle it back to deck. Interesting. But also, I mean, that's still really good because they're, like, this, and Clarissa are the only cards in the deck that actually pay Counterblast. And that's fine, because typically you only need this and 1 of the other 3 in your hand, or technically 2 of the other 3, and Clarissa on Van. Boom, all you have to do is call this, and then you can just get the last piece, and then all you're missing is the order, and then you have the big bang shablam that will literally annihilate your opponent in 5 seconds. 4 copies of Evelyn over here, just because it's really good. Get you your searches, and you do need it for the Earnescout order for now, or just correct order for now. 4 copies. And our last grade 2, and our grade 2 for the ride line, is Accurate Interval Clarissa. 10k base, 5k shield, grade 2 with Intercept. Auto when it's placed on Van by riding on Serious Challenger Clarissa, so basically right on top of the grade 1. So last one, look at top 7 cards on the top of your deck, choose up to 1, grade 2 or less Earnescorrect in its card name from among them, reveal it, put it to your hand, shuffle the rest to the bottom. Basically the same thing that the grade 1 does, just look at top 7, except you get 1 grade higher, so you can search for the grade 2s now, but you can still get the grade 1s if you want. Add it to hand, shuffle the rest to bottom, and then continuous Van during your turn. If you have no rear guards, gets +5, so literally the same thing as the grade 1. Now, I like this card. does its job well on Van, just because it, you know, gets you the materials for your Earnescorrects. My only problem is, once more, like, the Vanguard ability is not that special. I wish it was just, if you call it an Earnescorrect, you get to draw, like, not even if you call it an Earnescorrect, you get to draw a card, but when you call an Earnescorrect soul charge one, just like make up for the soul, but it's a once per turn ability, you know, just like you have just so you have a reason to kind of go for that, like, early game rush against them, instead of just a 5k, if you have no rear guards, because that never comes in handy. Like, I mean, okay, it comes in handy on rare occasions if they don't want to go to 2, but I really do think it could have just been better with, if you call once per turn, if you've called in Earnescorrect rear guard this turn, soul charge 1 just for free, just so you know, like, you can use this more later. But, I mean, either way, it's still fine. I just wish that was the skill. 1 copy of this Clarissa, though, because it literally has no purpose outside of the ride deck, so 1 copy. And then our last normal unit in our main grade 3 is 4 copies of Earnescorrect leader Clarissa, 3 in the main deck, 1 in the ride deck, 13k base, grade 3 turn charge persona ride. Auto, when it's placed on Van by riding from accurate interval Clarissa, counterblast 1, search your deck for up to 1, aim to be the strongest idol, reveal it, put it to your hand and shuffle your deck. Auto Van, when this unit attack hits, draw a card, choose one of your rear guards with Earnescorrect and its card name, gets +5 for the turn. So pretty much, not a once per turn, you search your deck for the main order when it's rode. When you ride it from the grade 2, which means persona riding does not give you the search for it. I really wish it was like that, but then this deck would be a bit too good, especially with all the drawing you get. And the on-hit ability, like I said before, it could hit anything. It doesn't have to hit the Vanguard, which means they either guard the rear guard, but still lose hand cards, or they take it, but then you get more benefits out of it. And, you know, that draw in the 5k, really annoying, especially when you hit 3 at once. 4 copies in general, 1 in the main deck, 3 in the ride deck. Sorry, let me swap those. 3 in the main deck, 1 in the ride deck, really good grade 3. And then our last card, which is our order and the thing that to look forward to in the entirety of the deck, aim to be the strongest idol. Grade 3 normal order, played if you have 5 or more units with Earnescorrect in their different card names. So that implies that they are going to make at least 1 more, because it says 5 or more, and they have to have different card names, and there's exactly 5 right now with Clarissa, Evelyn, Katalyn, Leona, and Trilby. So most likely they will make another one just to make it a lot easier to play them, but I'm just saying for now there's only 5. Until end of turn, all of your units with Earnescorrect in their card names, including the Van, get +5. So this is an 18, this is a 15, this is a 13, this right here is a 13, and this is a 10 until something starts hitting. And if your opponent's Vanguard's a grade 3 or greater, choose one of your Earnescorrect leader Clarissa and it gets continuous Van. When this unit would attack, choose 3 of your opponent's Vanguard or rear guard circles, and then this unit battles all the chosen circles at once. So, pretty much, if they're a grade 3, so automatically you get the power regardless. So automatically your attacks are hitting for, like, how I normally do is I call this in front of Trilby, so this is like a 13 plus 10, 23k column, okay, 15k drop at least on grade 2 turn. I mean, 50k drop in general. Katalyn normally goes in front of Leona, so that's like a 13 plus 15. Now it's a 20k drop for both grade 3 and grade 2, and this is just a standard 18, but still with the on-hit pressure. And now, if they're at grade 3, you can swing at 3 units at once, including the Van. So you could go Van, 2 front or rear guard circles to get rid of interceptors, and because you're attacking the interceptors, they can't intercept with those interceptors. Or you could go all rear guards, just because, like, you know, they're going to guard the Vanguard, but you want to kill the rear guards because maybe they're far more important, and because the on-hit activates anyways, and they're a lot harder to guard the rear guards because they probably have less power, you know, makes their job a lot more difficult, is what I'm trying to say here. And Clarissa does a really good job. And because she doesn't retire by effects, she's just attacking multiple units at once. That's really good because, like, it gets around stuff like Trickstar, where I'm pretty sure Trickstar says just can't be, it can't be chosen by effects. Oh, so maybe that means it can't be targeted, but, like, either way, it gets around things that say they have unretired abilities or cannot be retired by effects. This is swinging into them, not killing them by effects, which means Clarissa, like, has the way to get rid of so many, like, different, I guess, resist effects, like, similar to resist effects. All around, really good order, and it's literally for free. 4 copies, and that was a deck. Like, Clarissa, honestly, really powerful. It is one of the most annoying decks to fight against because, you know, if you call a board, the likeliness of it getting nuked is so big, and they will get so much advantage out of it that you have to think, when is a good time to call a board, and I have to kill them on that turn. I have to stockpile my hand, I have to stockpile my power, I have to get ready with my counter blast, my soul blast. Bruce, in my opinion, is like the best thing to take this on, because while they kind of equal each other, but this deck can kind of get like more hand cards out of it, Bruce, in my opinion, It can get more, they can get even attacks if this deck calls 2 Katalyns to the front row, but Bruce can get more attacks on average and gets slightly more, maybe slightly more power out of it, maybe slightly less, depending on what has been pulled between triggers. All around, Bruce, in my opinion, is like the best deck to fight against this with. I mean, there are other decks, but that's just my opinion on that front. Either way, deck hits really hard, hits really big, literally can become the definition of a field nuke. Yeah, just, if you're playing Clarissa, just pay attention to when they add the order to hand and kind of try to play around that. If they make an order nullification card, Clarissa has a slight bit of trouble, but not that much. So I'm going to end it here. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, join to the Patreon, join Discord, follow the Twitch, and I'll see you all in the next one. Don't forget to stand up your vanguards.